Well, in the last video, I introduced the two dimensions of communication: assertiveness, or concern for self, and empathy, or concern for others. And from these two dimensions, we come up with 4 styles of communication. And so, as I mentioned in this lesson, I want to define and talk about actually just 3 of the styles. I'm going to talk about dominate, accommodate, and avoid. Let's start with dominators. Dominators assert their own needs and opinions. They express themselves openly and seek what they want. Since they're high on assertiveness and low on empathy, they have less regard for how their opinions or needs might impact others. Dominators generally don't like to be wrong, and they don't like to lose. Their strategy is to convince, control, or even coerce other people into thinking, doing, or believing what they want. During conflict, they handle their emotions by defending, arguing, lecturing, blaming, maybe even attacking. They tend to say things like, you must, should, ought, better, my way or the highway, you always, never, that's dumb, why don't you, you ought to know better than that. Dominators, in fact, remind me of a friend that I was talking to recently. He and his wife had gotten into an argument and couldn't settle it. Finally, in an attempt to bring some peace, his wife said, okay, I'll admit I'm wrong if you'll admit I'm right. Okay, he agreed. So she mustered all of the humility and she could come up with, and she said, I'm wrong, to which he replied, you're right. Well, dominators communicate that message. The message is, if you don't do what I want, I'll intimidate you. I'll overpower you until you do. At the extreme, pure dominators go on the offense and they attack other people. They try to win through intimidation, power, and control. They tend to be action-oriented and direct and demanding. They're opinionated. They can be critical and appear to be very self-assured. Now let's talk about accommodators. These people, on the other hand, are high on empathy and low on assertiveness, so they tend to put the opinions and needs and feelings of others ahead of their own. They tend to be polite, seek to please others. They're easy to get along with, generally non-judgmental, and more self-aware than dominators or avoiders. During conflict, they defer to other people and even give in to go along. This means that they sometimes stuff their own feelings and wants rather than getting them out in the open. They're more likely to become silent rather than express themselves forcefully. Accommodators care about the happiness of others, and they don't like to offend. They hope that by being nice, they can not only avoid rejection of themselves and criticism, but they will also get others to cooperate with them, to see that they're nice and eventually come around. Well, over time, accommodators may feel like martyrs, and since they can't be upfront and clear about their own needs, they may act out their feelings in passive-aggressive ways, perhaps by withholding or getting even. During conflict, they say things like, what do you want? I want you to feel good about this. It really doesn't matter to me. I may be wrong, but is this okay with you? Let's try to get along. I just can't seem to. What do you need? Avoiders. Let's talk about avoiders. Avoiders tend to minimize differences. Avoiding behaviors include things like denying the seriousness of a situation, suppressing their feelings, using humor, minimizing being apathetic, rationalizing, acting as if it's business as usual. They distract, dismiss, escape. They don't like conflict, and in particular the strong emotions that conflict brings up. So they try to smooth everything over, pretend that it's okay. Their strategy is to leave issues alone and hope they'll go away. And because they have a hard time dealing with emotional issues, their relationships aren't as deep. They don't disclose their true selves to other people, but seek to play it safe. Avoiders tend to be easygoing, independent, rational, more detached. In conflict, they say things like, it's no biggie. Let's not make a mountain out of a molehill. What problem? You're cute when you're mad. I said I was sorry. Let's be logical about this. Well, let me point out that all of us use all 3 of these styles of communication at various times in various circumstances. And before talking about the 4th style, or collaboration, I want to explore when it's appropriate to use the 3 styles of dominate, accommodate, and avoid. See you in the next video.